What is the root cause? Who wants to say? I heard something here.
Money.
You said money. Money is the reason. Capitalism is the reason. What else? Huh? Development. Development in this sense. Yes, absolutely.
Human attitude.
Human attitude. Precisely. Because the human attitude is actually what creates this money and creates the whole thing. But from a systems perspective, what the two people here said in terms of money and capitalism is really the root cause. Because what we see is that the economy and the environment are going exactly the opposite way. So we have an economic system that thinks that ecology doesn't exist, that the planet doesn't have any bounds, that we can use more and more and that we can grow more and more through this system. So if we want to fix this, and I hope that all of you want to fix this, right? Because all of this, what I've told you, is going to change the world in the coming 35 years. So when it's 2050, if we don't take very strong steps today, the planet that we're living is going to be one that you're not want to be living in. So it is your way, your creativity, the future that you create is going to be that 2050. So let's see. How old are you going to be in 2050? Everyone just calculate now. You're going to be 55. Who else?
That's our age.
So you're going to be at the age of your lecturers. So 2050, 35 years from now on, is not a long period of time. You'll be 105. So even you might see it. So the point is, when we see that, we have to ensure that that future is not the way it's bringing us to be. We have to create a different future. And how do we create that future is the question. So basically what we're saying in terms of looking at the system, what we have right now, you called it capitalism, but capitalism has like so much load in it, right? When you say like, oh, the root cause is capitalism, they almost like frame you, oh, you're a lefty, right? Or if you say, oh, the problem is capitalism, and they will say, yes, I agree with you from the sort of right thing, but capitalism is also a good thing, you know? So there's like these words, the nomenclature that we're using today has its own weight, its own load. So therefore, we need to create a new vocabulary, a new nomenclature, which defines also the future itself. And that's why we call this whole concept a new name that is not known, that doesn't have a weight, that doesn't carry like all this sort of history with itself. So that we can use our imagination, so that we can create something different than what we have today. Because words enable, at the same time, an imagination. And that's why we call it prosumer economy, and that's why we stay away from capitalism and words like money, but we define it quite obviously. What we call it, the problem today is growth economy, it's consumer economy, and it's profit maximization. So, if you want to maximize your profits, you have to sell more and more, and you have to externalize all your costs to nature and other people, and at the same time, by your profit maximization, the economy will grow because you will consume more and more, right? So this is the simple model. So Donella Meadows in the 1970s was part of the Club of Rome, and there was a book called The Limits to Growth. And in this Limits to Growth, and you can look at some of Donella Meadows' essays, what she's saying is, if you want to shift the system, there are leverage points. And once you use those leverage points, you can take the system and shift it to another place. And that is essentially the theory of the 1970s. That one factor You control one factor and you can shift the system. And they defined it at the time as growth. So if we can get rid of growth, we can actually have a sustainable society. We can have a different world.